The great hall was silent. Soldiers stood in every corner, their weapons ready, their eyes sharp. The air felt heavy, as if the entire world was holding its breath. Tonight was not an ordinary night. Tonight, Earth was meeting the alien ambassador for the very first time. Daniel sat at the long table with other human leaders, his hands tight against his lap. He was not a soldier, not a scientist, not even the most powerful diplomat. But somehow, fate had chosen him to sit here. The doors of the hall opened slowly with a sound that echoed like thunder. Everyone turned their heads. The alien ambassador entered. She was tall, graceful, and unlike anything Daniel had ever seen. Her skin shimmered like starlight, blue with silver veins glowing faintly under the surface. Her long hair flowed like strands of light, moving as if alive. Her eyes were deep dark pools that seemed to know every secret in the room. The humans shifted uncomfortably. Some lowered their eyes. Others clenched their fists. No one moved. The ambassador walked forward, surrounded by her guards, tall figures, in armor that bent the light around them. Each step she took was filled with calm power, as if she carried the weight of her entire people with her. The silence grew heavier. No one dared to speak. Daniel felt his heart pound. He knew this was more than just a meeting. This was history. One wrong move, and it could turn into war. The ambassador stopped at the center of the hall. She looked at the humans with steady eyes, and then slowly she extended her hand. No one moved. The other diplomats looked at one another nervously. Whispers filled the room. Who would step forward? Who would take the risk? Daniel swallowed hard. His body shook, but something inside him pushed him to stand. Before he could think, his legs carried him forward. He walked past the other leaders, past the soldiers, past the cameras hidden in the walls. Every eye followed him. The alien ambassador tilted her head slightly, as if curious. Her hand was still waiting. Daniel stopped in front of her. For a long moment, they only stared at each other. The world outside the hall, the noise of nations, the fear of armies, it all vanished. There was only the two of them. Finally, Daniel raised his hand. Slowly, carefully, he reached out. His palm was sweaty, his fingers cold. When their hands touched, everything changed. A pulse of light exploded from their joined hands. It spread across the hall, washing over the soldiers, the leaders, the walls, and the very air. The lights above flickered. The cameras shut down. The silence turned into a ringing hum that seemed to come from inside their very bones. Daniel gasped as a sharp warmth shot through his arm, racing into his chest, his heart, his mind. For a split second he saw images, stars exploding, planets burning, and 1,000 alien faces crying out. Then he saw something else. A child, small and fragile, reaching toward him. He pulled back in shock, but the ambassador did not let go. Her eyes were locked on his, and for the first time Daniel saw something in them. Fear. The glow faded slowly, leaving only whispers in the air. The soldiers shifted nervously. The leaders shouted questions, but the ambassador held Daniel's hand tightly, as if letting go would break the universe in two. Finally, she released him. Her breathing was heavy, her glowing skin dimmer than before. She turned to her guards and spoke in a language Daniel did not understand. The guards rushed to her side, but she raised her hand to stop them. Then she looked back at Daniel. For a moment her gaze softened. She whispered in English, her voice strange but clear. "You are chosen." The words cut through the noise of the hall like a blade. Daniel froze. He wanted to ask what she meant, but before he could speak, the ambassador turned away. Her guards surrounded her, and together they left the hall. The great doors closed behind them with a deep thud. The humans erupted in chaos. Leaders shouted, demanding answers. Soldiers checked their weapons. Some pointed at Daniel, accusing him of betrayal. Others demanded to know what the light had been. But Daniel stood frozen, staring at his hand. His palm still burned where she had touched him. "You are chosen." The words echoed in his mind. He did not understand what had happened, He did not know what he had just started. But deep inside, Daniel felt the truth. Nothing would ever be the same again, and somewhere far beyond the stars, destiny had already begun to move. The night after the handshake, Daniel could not sleep. He lay in the dark hotel room, staring at the ceiling. The city outside was quiet, but inside his head there was noise, whispers, strange sounds, voices he did not understand. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw flashes of light. He saw stars breaking apart. He saw strange symbols, glowing like fire. And always he saw a child, a small hand reaching toward him. Daniel sat up, his body covered in sweat. He pressed his palm against his chest, trying to calm his racing heart. But then he felt it again. A pulse, a faint warmth running through his veins, the same warmth he had felt when he touched the alien ambassador. "You are chosen." Her words echoed in his mind. He stood up, walked to the mirror, and stared at his reflection. His skin looked the same, but his eyes, something was different. It was as if he carried a piece of that glowing light inside him now. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Daniel froze. Midnight visitors were never a good sign. Slowly, he opened the door. Two men in black suits stood outside, their faces stern, their eyes sharp. "Come with us," one of them ordered. Daniel hesitated, but he knew he had no choice. He followed them through the silent corridors, into an armored car, and finally, to a hidden government facility beneath the city. Inside, generals, scientists, and politicians waited. The room buzzed with tension. On the screen behind them, news reports were already spreading across the world. Alien ambassador's first contact ends in strange event. Some channels called Daniel a hero. Others called him a traitor. One of the generals slammed his fist on the table. "What did you do to her?" Daniel shook his head. "Nothing, I only shook her hand." The scientists exchanged nervous glances. One of them leaned forward. "We analyzed the video. There was an energy surge. Not from her. From both of you. Tell us. What did you feel?" Daniel tried to explain. The heat, the visions, the whispers. But his words sounded strange even to himself. Finally, a woman at the table spoke quietly. "She has not spoken to anyone since the handshake. She refuses to meet our leaders, refuses our translators. She only asks for you." Daniel's heart. "Sarksen, for me?" The woman nodded. "Yes. Whatever happened, it connected you to her. She trusts you now." Before Daniel could answer, the doors at the far end of the room opened. The alien ambassador entered, her tall guards flanking her. The soldiers in the room raised their weapons instantly, but the ambassador lifted her hand, and the air itself seemed to grow heavy. Everyone froze. Her eyes found Daniel. She walked past the generals, past the scientists, and stopped in front of him. For a moment, she said nothing. Then, in her strange but clear English, she whispered, "You feel it too?" Daniel nodded slowly. "Yes, but what is it?" The ambassador's glowing skin flickered. She seemed weaker than before. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "The bond. It has begun." Her guards shifted uneasily, their faces hidden, but Daniel could sense their fear. "What bond?" he asked. The ambassador leaned closer. Her voice dropped, soft enough that only he could hear. "I carry life now, a child, and it is yours." The words struck him like a storm. Daniel staggered back, his mouth dry. That's impossible." But the ambassador's eyes held no doubt. "Our people cannot create life anymore. We are fading. But your touch awakened something. My body answered. The child grows inside me, half of me, half of you." Daniel's mind spun. A child, his child, with her? He wanted to deny it, wanted to laugh, but deep down he knew the truth. He had seen the visions. He had felt the warmth. He had already seen the child's hand reaching for him. The room around them erupted in chaos. The general shouted. The scientists argued, the soldiers pointed their weapons again. Some demanded the ambassador leave Earth at once. Others shouted that Daniel be locked away. But through the noise, the ambassador only stared at him. You must protect us. Both of us, or everything will end. Daniel's voice shook. End? What do you mean? The ambassador's face darkened. My people are dying. Your people are afraid. If this child is born, it could unite us, or destroy us. Both sides will try to stop it. Both sides will hunt us. But destiny has already chosen. You are the father, and I am already changing. Her glowing skin flickered again, dimmer than before. She looked weak, fragile, almost human. Daniel wanted to step back, wanted to run, but something inside him held him in place. He remembered the visions, the stars, the child. He realized this was bigger than him, bigger than Earth, bigger than both species. The whispers in his head grew louder. He could almost understand them now. They spoke of unity, of danger, of a future balanced on the edge of a blade. And in that moment, Daniel knew his life was no longer his own. He was tied to her, to the child, to the future of two worlds. The storm outside the hidden facility rattled against the steel walls, but inside the meeting chamber, the storm was even greater. Generals shouted, scientists argued, politicians demanded answers, but all their voices blurred into meaningless noise for Daniel. His heart was still pounding from the ambassador's words. A child, half human, half alien. My child. It felt impossible, and yet, deep inside, he knew it was true. The warmth in his veins, the visions, the whispers, they all pointed to this one truth. Something had been passed to her during that handshake. Something alive. The alien ambassador stood tall, though her glowing skin flickered like a candle in the wind. Her voice carried above the chaos, strong but heavy with strain. The bond cannot be broken, she said. It has already begun. A general slammed his fist on the table. This is madness. We cannot allow this. That thing must not be born. Instantly, her guards stepped forward, weapons glowing with strange light. The soldiers in the room raised their rifles in response. The air grew tense, sharp as a blade. One wrong move, and the hall would drown in blood. The ambassador lifted her hand. Her guards froze. She looked at Daniel. Only him. You deserve the truth, she said softly. Daniel felt his throat tighten. He didn't want the truth, but he knew he needed it. He stepped closer, his voice unsteady. Then tell me, what is happening to you? To me? To us? Her eyes glowed faintly, but behind them, Daniel saw exhaustion. Fear. My people are dying, she said. Long ago we were strong. We traveled across the stars, building worlds, forging empires. But something happened. A sickness spread through generations. Slowly, we lost the ability to create life. For centuries, no child has been born among us. Daniel's chest tightened. He saw her pain in every word. We searched the stars for answers, she continued. Genetics, science, even forbidden rituals, nothing worked. Hope turned into despair. Our kind began to fade. She paused, breathing heavily, her skin glowing dimmer. Until we came here, to Earth. We studied your people, your blood, your resilience, and we saw what we had lost, life itself. When I touched you, something woke inside me. Something your kind still carries. It flowed into me, it gave me strength, and now, it grows inside. Daniel staggered back, shaking his head. You mean, the child is hope? The ambassador nodded. Hope, but also danger. If my people learn the truth, they may see the child as a miracle or a curse. And your leaders? Her eyes swept across the room where generals glared and whispered. They will fear it. They will want to control it or destroy it. Daniel looked around the chamber. He saw it in their eyes: fear, greed, hunger. The politicians whispered of power. The generals whispered of weapons. The scientists whispered of experiments. The ambassador's voice cut through the silence. This child cannot belong to governments. This child cannot belong to armies. It must be protected. It must be free. Daniel felt a chill crawl up his spine. He had never asked for this. He had never wanted this. But he could not deny it. This was his responsibility now. But why me? He whispered. Why not someone else? Why not one of your own kind? The ambassador's gaze softened. Because you are human and humans are different. She stepped closer, her glowing hand hovering near his chest. Your people fight. They struggle. They survive. You rise again and again, no matter how many times you fall. That is what we lost. That is why you were chosen. Daniel's chest burned where her hand hovered, as if something inside him responded. The whispers in his mind grew louder. This time, he almost understood them. They spoke of unity, of danger, of a bridge between worlds. Suddenly, alarms blared through the facility. Red lights flashed. Soldiers rushed into the room. Breach, someone shouted. Unknown forces attacking the outer gates. Chaos erupted. Orders screamed across radios. Explosions shook the walls. The ambassador's guards formed a circle around her. The generals barked orders, trying to keep control, but Daniel could see the truth. Fear was spreading faster than fire. The ambassador turned to him, her voice urgent. It begins sooner than I feared. They know. They are coming for us. Daniel's stomach twisted. Who? Both, she said. Your kind and mine. The room shook again as another explosion roared above. Dust rained from the ceiling. Soldiers raised their rifles. The ambassador's hand gripped his tightly. You must choose, Daniel. Protect me. Protect the child. Or let them take us. But know this. If they succeed, both our species will fall. Daniel stared at her glowing eyes, at the weight of the truth pressing down on him. Around them, chaos consumed the facility. The future of two worlds now rested in his hands. And in that moment, he realized, his life was no longer his own. The explosions outside the facility finally stopped, but the damage was done. Smoke filled the corridors, alarms screamed, and soldiers rushed to seal the gates. Daniel sat in the corner of the chamber, his mind racing. He wanted to believe it was all a nightmare, but no, it was real. The alien ambassador had said the words, herself. I carry your child. He closed his eyes, and for a moment he saw the same vision again, the tiny hand reaching out to him. A child, fragile but powerful, waiting to be born. When Daniel opened his eyes, the world had already changed. The news had leaked. All over Earth, people were shouting, protesting, rioting. Some called it a miracle. Others screamed that it was blasphemy. Entire cities burned with anger or hope. On one channel, a scientist spoke with trembling excitement. This child could change everything. Imagine the possibilities. Alien and human DNA united. A cure for diseases. A new step in evolution. Another, a general, glared into the camera. This is not a miracle. This is a weapon, a threat, and it must be stopped before it destroys us all. Daniel watched in silence. He saw the streets filled with banners. Protect the child on one side, destroy the abomination on the other. Humanity had split in two, and the world was tearing itself apart. In the secure chamber, the human leaders turned on him. You brought this on us. One shouted. You should have refused her hand, another yelled. You will hand over the ambassador at once, a general barked. Daniel rose to his feet, anger burning in his chest. Hand her over? To who? To be locked in a lab? To be cut open like an experiment? She trusted us. She trusted me. The room went silent. His words had weight, but also danger. One politician leaned forward, his voice cold. You don't understand. If this child is born, it will not belong to you. It will not belong to her. It will belong to Earth, to us. The ambassador's eyes narrowed. Her glowing skin flickered with sudden heat. This child belongs to no government. It belongs to both worlds, or neither. Her words made the air itself feel sharp, like a storm about to break. Outside, the chamber chanting grew louder. Protesters had surrounded the facility, their voices echoing like thunder. Protect the child. End the threat. Two sides of humanity divided by fear and hope. Daniel looked at the ambassador. She seemed weaker every hour, but her eyes never wavered. She whispered to him so quietly only he could hear. They will not stop. They will hunt us until the end. That night, Daniel was moved to a secure room. Soldiers guarded his door. But even in the silence, he could not escape the voices. They grew stronger, clearer. The whispers in his mind were no longer just noise. They were words. Protect. Guide. Father. He pressed his hands against his ears, but it did not help. The voice of the unborn child echoed inside him. He felt its presence like a shadow, alive and real. Suddenly, the door to his room opened. A soldier slipped inside, his face pale. You must come with me, the soldier whispered. Daniel frowned. Why? There's been a breach. Some of our own want to remove the problem. They plan to take the ambassador tonight. If they succeed, she and the child will never live. Daniel's chest froze. Where is she now? In the lower chambers. But we don't have much time. You must decide. Stay and let them take her. Or fight for her. Daniel's legs shook. But he stood. Take me to her. The soldier nodded and led him through the dark corridors. Sirens still wailed. Shadows moved in the distance. At every turn, Daniel feared soldiers loyal to the other side would appear. At last, they reached the lower chamber. The ambassador sat alone, her guards lying unconscious on the floor, drugged by traitors. Her skin glowed faintly, weaker than ever. She looked up as Daniel rushed in. They are coming, she whispered, to kill us. Daniel knelt beside her. For the first time, he touched her hand without fear. Then we run. Together. She stared at him for a long moment. And then for the first time, she smiled. A small, fragile smile filled with both pain and hope. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Voices shouted orders. The traitors were close. Daniel pulled her up, wrapping her arm around his shoulders. We'll find a way out, he said. I won't let them take you. As the doors behind them burst open, Daniel and the ambassador slipped into the shadows of the escape tunnels below the facility. Above them, the world was on fire. Nations were dividing. Armies were preparing. Humanity was tearing itself apart. And in the darkness, carrying the weight of two civilizations, Daniel whispered to himself, I never wanted this, but if I must protect her, if I must protect the child, then I will. The escape tunnels stretched beneath the city like the veins of a sleeping giant. Damp walls dripped water, and every step echoed too loudly. Daniel held the alien ambassador close, her glowing skin faint in the darkness. She was weaker now, her breath shallow, but her eyes still burned with determination. Behind them, distant footsteps chased. Voices barked orders. Flashlights cut through the shadows. They will not stop, the ambassador whispered. Not until we are gone. Or dead. Daniel tightened his grip on her arm. Then we stay ahead of them. We find a way out. They turned a corner, slipping into deeper tunnels. The soldier who had helped them escape moved swiftly, his rifle ready. He whispered to Daniel, We're not safe. There are traitors on every side. Humans want her captured. Some aliens want her dead. To them, this child is chaos. Daniel felt the truth in those words. The world above was already divided. And down here in the shadows, enemies hid everywhere. Suddenly, a shot rang out. Sparks burst from the wall beside them. Daniel ducked, pulling the ambassador down. More shots echoed. Shadows moved ahead. They were surrounded. The soldier returned fire, yelling, Keep moving! Daniel pulled the ambassador through a side passage, his heart racing. The narrow tunnel twisted and turned until it opened into an old subway chamber, abandoned and silent. Broken trains sat rusting in the dark, but they were not alone. Figures stepped out from the shadows. Some wore human uniforms, others wore alien armor, their glowing eyes fixed on Daniel and the ambassador. Different species, different sides. United by one goal: stop the child. Daniel's chest tightened. There was no way out. The ambassador stood taller, her weak body glowing faintly. Her voice cut through the silence. Do you not see? This child is not a curse. It is hope. The first bridge between our worlds. Kill us and you kill your future. Her words echoed, but the enemies did not lower their weapons. Daniel stepped forward, anger boiling inside him. You talk about fear, about danger, but do you know what I saw when I touched her? I saw a child, not a weapon, not a curse. A child, reaching for both of us. And I'll protect that child even if I have to fight every one of you. For a moment no one moved. The enemies stared at him as if shocked by his defiance. Then the first soldier fired. Chaos erupted. Gunfire and plasma bolts lit the chamber. Sparks and smoke filled the air. The loyal soldier fought fiercely, but he was outnumbered. Daniel grabbed a piece of broken pipe and swung it at a soldier who rushed too close. His arms shook, but adrenaline carried him through. The ambassador raised her hand weakly. A sudden wave of light burst from her palm, pushing back the nearest attackers. They stumbled, blinded for a few seconds. Go! She cried. Daniel dragged her toward another exit. The loyal soldier covered their retreat, firing until his rifle clicked empty. He shouted one last command, "Run!" before being swallowed by the fight. Daniel pulled the ambassador into another tunnel. His lungs burned, his legs screamed, but he kept moving. At last, they stumbled into the night air. They had emerged near the edge of the city, where ruins of old factories stood silent, under the stars. The ambassador collapsed against a wall, her glowing skin flickering like a dying flame. Daniel knelt beside her, panic rising. Stay with me, please. Her eyes opened slowly. She placed her hand on his chest. Do not fear. The child is strong. Stronger than both of us. Daniel's throat tightened. But they'll never stop coming. Humans, aliens, everyone will try to take you. Her voice was soft but steady. Then you must become more than you are. Not just a man. Not just a human. A protector. A father. Destiny has already chosen you. Before Daniel could answer, a sound echoed in the distance. Helicopters. Searchlights swept the ruins. Armored vehicles rumbled closer. He looked at her, at the faint light in her eyes. Then he stood, determination hardening inside him. Then we run again. We hide. We fight if we must. But no one takes you or the child from me. The Ambassador's faint smile returned even as tears glimmered in her eyes. In the distance, sirens wailed. The world above grew darker with every passing hour. Humanity was breaking apart. The aliens prepared for war. But in the ruins of a forgotten city, Daniel made a silent vow. He would protect her. He would protect the child, even if it meant fighting enemies in the shadows until the very end. The ruins of the old factory shook as the sound of helicopters grew louder. Searchlights swept across broken walls and shattered windows. Daniel pulled the alien ambassador deeper into the shadows, his chest heaving with every breath. She was weak, too weak. Her glowing skin flickered like a candle about to die. She leaned heavily against him, her voice soft but urgent. It is time, she whispered. Daniel froze. Time? Time for what? Her eyes locked on his. The child. It comes now. His heart stopped. The world outside was burning with soldiers and machines, but inside these ruins, something far greater was about to begin. Daniel dragged her into an old storage room, dusty and broken, with a roof half collapsed. He laid her down on the cold floor, his hands trembling. I don't know what to do. he whispered desperately. You will know, she said, her voice weak but steady. The bond will guide you. Her body glowed brighter, waves of strange light spilling from her skin. Daniel shielded his eyes, but he could not look away. The air crackled with energy. Machines in the ruins sparked and died. The ground itself seemed to hum. She cried out, her voice shaking the walls. The sound was not just pain, it was power. Daniel grabbed her hand. I'm here. I won't leave you. Her grip was strong, almost breaking his bones. You must protect him, she gasped. No matter what comes, you must protect him. The light grew stronger, filling the entire room. Daniel felt it burning inside his chest, racing through his blood. He saw visions again. Stars, fire, and then a child glowing with both human warmth and alien power. The ambassador screamed one last time, and then silence. In her arms lay a child, small, fragile, yet surrounded by light so pure it silenced the world. Daniel's breath caught. The baby's skin shimmered faintly like hers, but its eyes were human. The child opened its mouth and cried. At that moment, everything stopped. The helicopters outside froze in the air. The soldiers below dropped their weapons and stared at the sky. Even the city itself seemed to fall silent, as if the world had paused to listen. Daniel held the newborn carefully, his hands trembling. The baby was warm, alive, real, half human, half alien, a bridge between worlds. The ambassador's eyes filled with tears. Her glowing skin was dim now, almost fading, but her smile was stronger than ever. You see, she whispered. He is not curse, he is promise. Daniel's throat tightened. He's perfect. But the moment of peace shattered when the factory walls exploded inward. Soldiers stormed the room, human and alien alike. Their weapons glowed, their voices shouted. Take the child, someone screamed. Daniel clutched the baby tighter, backing away. The ambassador tried to rise, but her body was too weak. She fell, back against the floor, her eyes burning with anger. The soldiers advanced, and then the child cried again. A wave of energy burst outward, throwing everyone off their feet. Weapons shattered. Lights exploded. The soldiers screamed as they were hurled back into the walls. Daniel stared in shock. The baby was glowing, brighter and brighter, its small fists clenched. The very air around it shimmered with raw power. The ambassador whispered, her voice trembling. He is more than either of us. He carries the strength of two worlds. He is the future. Daniel looked at the soldiers struggling to rise, their faces twisted with fear. He knew what they saw. Not just a child, but a power they could never control. One soldier tried to crawl forward, reaching for the baby. Daniel stepped in front of him, his voice fierce. You will not touch him. The soldier froze, as if Daniel's words carried the same weight as the child's power. The baby's glow faded slowly, its cries softening. The energy settled, leaving only silence and the smell of burned metal. Daniel looked down at the child, his heart pounding. For the first time in his life, he felt something stronger than fear, responsibility. He looked at the ambassador. She was weak, barely conscious, but she nodded to him. You must take him, they will never stop. Run, Daniel, run and never look back. Daniel's chest tightened. He wanted to stay. He wanted to fight. But he knew she was right. The world outside would hunt this child forever, and only he could protect it. He cradled the baby in his arms, his jaw set. I swear, no one will harm him, not while I live. The ambassador smiled faintly, her eyes closing. Then destiny is fulfilled. Daniel turned toward the broken wall, the night sky glowing with fire and searchlights. The path ahead was filled with danger, but in his arms was something worth more than worlds. He took a deep breath, holding the child close. I never wanted this, he whispered. But now, I will be what he needs. A protector. A father. And with that, Daniel disappeared into the shadows of the burning city, carrying the impossible child, the child who had already changed everything. The world was no longer the same. For weeks, Daniel and the child lived in the shadows, moving from city to city, always hunted, never safe. Every government wanted the baby, some to protect, most to control. Alien ships hovered in orbit, their leaders demanding answers. But whispers spread across the stars. Whispers of a child born from two worlds. A child who glowed with power. A child who silenced armies with a single cry. At last, the day came when hiding was no longer possible. Both human leaders and alien envoys demanded a council, a final gathering to decide the future, and at the center of it all stood Daniel. The chamber was vast, a circular hall filled with faces of power. Human generals sat on one side, alien commanders on the other. Their eyes were sharp, their voices tense. Between them stood Daniel, holding the child wrapped in a simple cloth. Silence filled the room. A general leaned forward. "Give us the child, Daniel. Humanity will raise it. We will protect it." An alien commander slammed his staff against the floor. "No, the child is ours, born of our blood. You humans will twist it into a weapon." The voices rose louder and louder until the hall shook with anger. Daniel raised his voice, breaking the storm. "Enough!" Everyone froze. He stepped into the center of the chamber, his eyes blazing. "You see this child as a prize, a weapon, a crown. But you are all blind. This child is not yours, not mine, not hers. He belongs to both of us, or none of us at all." He lifted the child higher. The baby stirred, its small eyes opening. For a moment, the room glowed faintly, a soft light radiating from the infant's skin. The soldiers shifted uneasily, their weapons trembling in their hands. Daniel's voice carried stronger now. "When I shook her hand, I never knew this would happen. I never wanted this. But destiny chose me. And destiny chose this child. He is proof that we do not need to destroy each other. Proof that humans and aliens are not enemies, but family." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some lowered their heads in thought. Others still glared with suspicion. The alien commander pointed his staff at Daniel. "You speak of peace, human. But peace is weak. Power is what decides the future." Daniel's jaw tightened. He stepped closer, holding the baby tight. "Then look into his eyes. Tell me this is weakness." The commander hesitated. His glowing eyes met the child's human gaze. And for a moment his breath caught. The fire in his voice faded. On the other side, a human general shifted uneasily. "What if the child grows too strong? What if he becomes a danger to us all?" Daniel turned to him. "Then I will carry that burden. I am his father, his protector. If he rises, I will guide him. If he falls, I will answer for him. But I will not let your fear decide his fate." The chamber fell, silent again. The baby cooed softly, its glow warming the cold air. Slowly, one alien envoy lowered his weapon. Then another. One by one, soldiers bowed their heads. Even the human generals shifted, their hard expressions softening under the weight of what they saw. For the first time, both sides stood in silence, not as enemies, but as witnesses to something greater than themselves. The ambassador, pale and weak but alive, stepped into the chamber. Her voice trembled, but her words were steady. "The future is before you. Will you destroy it with fear or protect it with hope?" Daniel looked around the hall, his voice quiet but firm. "I am not asking you to trust me. I am asking you to trust him." The baby reached out, its tiny hand stretching toward the air. And in that moment, something invisible passed through the chamber. A calmness, a unity. The tension melted like ice in the sun. No one fired. No one shouted. For the first time in history, humans and aliens stood together in silence. Daniel held the child close, whispering to himself, "I never wanted this, but destiny made me a father, not just to him, but to two worlds." the baby's faint glow, reflected in his eyes. A fragile peace had begun. It would not be easy. Wars could still come. Fear would always exist. But now there was something stronger than fear. Hope. And it was wrapped in his arms.